What an intro.
Great introduction. Thank you.
So we're going to sit here and talk to each other whilst you watch. I think that's how this works as a fireside. And this is a difficult slot. It's obviously the post-lunch slump on the second day. And some people, including Ivan, went out quite late last night. So we'll try and give you a bit of energy whilst we talk about the future of VR fitness. Do you want to introduce yourself and Valkyrie?
Yes, we've been already introduced very well, but I'll just repeat. We work on at Valkyrie Industries, of which I'm co-founder and CTO. We work on haptics, specifically muscle haptics, for fitness and healthcare applications. So, in general, creating more immersion and training your muscles while you work out in VR. So currently we're going to be talking about that, but we're working still on other things as well.
And I'm Keith Leddington, so look after partnerships at FitXR. FitXR have been going for 7 years now. We're one of the leading fitness apps on the MetaQuest stores. We're also launched on Pico as well. We originally started as Box VR, which some of you might have known, but since then we've added Hit Studio, Dance, Combat, Sculpt, and next week we're launching the official Zumba studio. So those of you who love to dance can come and join us both in VR and with an MR experience as well. We're now an 85-person business. We're based out of the UK, but we're fully remote, so we do have teams across Spain, Turkey, Portugal, and the United States as well.
Awesome. Great. Yeah, so how many years have you been already at?
7.
7 years, okay. And what has changed in these 7 years?
Move a little further away. Yeah, a bit intense. So the fitness industry, well, the VR fitness industry has changed quite a lot. So when FitXR was first established, fitness in VR wasn't a thing. And I think a lot of that was down to the nature of the hardware. The headsets were heavy, they had a cable in them, and they just weren't a suitable form factor for fitness. It was the point at which the cable came out of the headset and they became standalone units that fitness in VR really took off. And we spent a long time trying to convince Meta that fitness was a viable use case. So much so that now their go-to-market strategy is gaming, productivity, and fitness. And we obviously did such a good job that they then acquired Supernatural, which was great news, then buying one of our major competitors. But yeah, I think what we've now seen is that it's a very viable business opportunity as well. So we have 1.5 million workouts completed on FitXR every month. And we've seen a lot of competitors enter the space as well, including big global fitness brands like Les Mills, obviously Supernatural, who I've mentioned. You may have seen Alo Yoga looking to move into kind of the wellness space as well. So certainly it's kind of established as a category within VR. How about for hardware? How has kind of VR and VR fitness changed your hardware approach?
So we started initially not in the fitness at all. We initially started as a hardware company, as a haptics company. So we're working on gloves, we're working on sleeves, on suits for various applications, including industrial training, including robotic teleoperation, and but our device uses electrical muscle stimulation. I will talk about it a bit more further on. And it's somehow interesting sensation which not every enterprise was happy with, and we kind of were struggling to understand where and how we're going to work. And then at some point, the headset lost its cable. And we're like, okay, you can do backflip. Okay, you can. So at that time, we're like, okay, I think we need to move into the space, specifically because we're using electrical stimulation that's been used in fitness and the sports industry for a while. So it really, really actually allowed us to pivot and move into this industry in fitness. Okay. So, and then of course, yeah, COVID as well affected everyone, obviously. Thanks COVID, it's allowed us to work remotely, train remotely, exercise remotely, do whatever you want remotely. And then we are. What do you think? So you said you were trying to push Meta into bringing fitness. What do you think changed Meta's mind?
Money, I think, was the big one. We very quickly proved that VR fitness is a use case for repeat usage. And so we're a subscription business, and it's a kind of a perfect business model for fitness. So we have people that are coming in and using their headset daily to do fitness, and there's not so much repeatability in other apps. That also leads to like higher retention. So we are one of the top 3 most retentive products on the Oculus Store because people come back to us time and time again. They establish their fitness routines within FitXR and then they stay with us. But that means more money for us and more money for Meta. So the lifetime value of a customer that's using a headset for fitness is much higher than maybe somebody who's using it for a single purchase product or for free to play. We've kind of got that sticky nature of being able to bring people back time and time again.
Cool, awesome. When I pitch the company, sometimes I start with the fact that more than half of all the revenues of gyms coming from members who don't go to gym. And I think it's crazy. So there's actually physical gyms don't have rotation. How about FitXR? Is it better than physical gyms? You just said it's better than just some games.
Yeah.
What about real gyms?
Yeah, very much better than real gyms. I think also as well, being a digital product, we make it easy to cancel, right? But I think we have both annual and monthly subscriptions. Over half of our users choose to take an annual subscription with us. Which means that both our kind of day 28 retention is very high, but then even if you look at kind of month 12 retention, we're super high as well. And a large proportion of those go on to renew for their second year. So we have customers who are with us for a long time. They're very loyal. And I should probably at this point say it's not just Meta as well. So Pico 4 launched with fitness being its primary use case. The first thing they talked about, unfortunately, was Les Mills, but fitness, great for the category. And they really positioned it. Even if you go on the Pico 4 page today, it'll still say, hey, this is a fitness device first and foremost.
And again, who are people who try fitness, don't do fitness? People who try fitness in VR, do fitness. Are they different people? What are those people? Who are them? What motivates them?
Yeah, so we've got a real blend. But I think what's really interesting is our kind of cohort of users who maybe previously weren't very active. So one of the things is that we solve a lot of the same problems as a normal at-home fitness proposition, a video proposition, in terms of we remove the barriers around time or having to travel to get somewhere or your kids being in the house. So we solve the same problems as the likes of Peloton or of your, similar to Fit and your video devices as well. But we've got that added benefit of the immersion and the gamification. I used to, at this point in a talk anecdotally about how I've managed to hit my max heart rate playing FitXR, but didn't realise. But actually, half an hour ago, I received results from a lab test that we've been running with King's College London. So we tested 17 participants. We put the oxygen masks on them to test exertion. And across the board, the participants did more intense exercise when we compared it to them doing the same exercise but with a video screen. They enjoyed it more, which those two combos are great anyway. They're enjoying it more and it's more intense. But here's the kicker, they all felt less tired afterwards. So it's the most perfect combination. Like, who wouldn't want to do more exercise more effectively and feel less tired afterwards? So we used to kind of anecdotally say you feel like you're working out less because you're in a game, but now we've been able to kind of prove it. That's not hit the press yet, so hot off the press, right here, right now. But as a result, so what we found is this immersion and this gamification really allows us to speak to consumers who've had a mixed relationship with fitness. So 30% of our users before using FitXR was sedentary, so they didn't work out at all, and now they're working out with us regularly. We do have people at the other end of the spectrum as well who are already very fit, and they use FitXR to kind of complement their weekly fitness routine. But for us, it's those users who a traditional fitness program hasn't been able to talk to before, or there's a big number in the fitness industry around it serves 20% of the population, but we believe that we've got a product which can start to speak to the 80%, and that's really where our issue as a society is. We need to speak to the people that need more encouragement to get into fitness, and we think that immersion and gamification is a way to do that.
Cool. I think when we were as well exploring who could be our customers as well, two parts. Some of them are those who don't exercise but would like to. Some of them who exercise but want diversity as well. Because the people who go to the gym to carry metal, they probably wouldn't go into FitXR or wouldn't try our devices. Well,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. But as someone who like want ever to play football on Monday and on Wednesday do something else, and Friday do FitX stuff.
Yeah, and it's becoming much more of a trend across the fitness landscape as well, that people kind of blend the way in which they work out, and people take a more holistic approach to fitness now than they used to. Even your gym bunnies, you know, who work out all the time now realise that there's value for cardio and mindfulness and wellness and stretching. So the holistic approach is much more popular. One other thing that we've done research on is that habit formation in gamified environments for fitness is much greater than traditional environments. So rewards and recognition work much stronger when it's in an immersive gamified environment compared to non-gamified environments as well. So these are all of the unique benefits of VR that are coming to the fore when we look at habit formation as well. We obviously talked about what's great about VR fitness. What do you think it's still missing at the moment?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm here as well. Of course, when you do fitness in VR, I don't know how many actually tried FitXR or any other VR fitness game. Okay, more than half. Cool. So when you try it, usually you do it in mainly cardio. That's how it feels. You cannot really do anything strength related. You can do squats. Maybe you can do squat jumps for some of the games like XR workout, or I don't know about actually. Do you do squat jumps? Anyway,
We do squats.
squats.
No
Okay.
jumping.
So you can do legs, but upper body strength is as well something that's missing. You cannot really do upper body strength. So this upper body strength training, and as well as something that's missing right now, is leg and body tracking in general. So Meta did release the full body tracking API, which tries to guess where your legs are, but obviously you cannot really do lunges because it doesn't know that you're doing lunges. It would confuse it with sitting down on a chair or something. And I think Pico is working on leg tracking. Mocapi from Sony working on full body tracking. There's a lot of, obviously you can use HTC Vive trackers, but then you will need to use HTC Vive headset, which doesn't work for VR really. So these directions is what's still missing. So we are working on the first two bits. So I think, I know that Michael here works on trying to get weights into VR and putting it and using real weights in your room in VR, and it's amazing. There's another company called Black Box VR, which used in gyms in the US with giant cable machine. You put in VR and you have a giant cable machine with like 100 kilos and you fight monsters or something. It's great as well, but probably not everyone will be using it at home. We are bringing electrical muscle stimulation to VR, and I don't know how much you're familiar with electrical muscle stimulation. Let's again have a hand up. Who tried electrical muscle stimulation or TENS before? Cool. Well, again, half, maybe the same people who tried FitXR, I don't know, probably. So it's been used for 40 years in sports for rehabilitation and recovery, increasing blood flow, reducing atrophy for like after operation, and we're using this for training muscles in VR. So it's combined with hand-in-hand tracking. So when you grab the object, when you pull the lever, pull the string, you feel the muscle being engaged. Or you're holding a heavy object and you feel its heaviness in your arm. And it works currently for biceps and triceps. So you see I'm wearing the device on biceps and triceps. It kind of stimulates weight, force, and resistance. Not perfectly, not 100%. Of course, it doesn't work on your deltoids or any other muscles, but you can put them on other muscles as well. This is our first product that we are building. And it's kind of, in some ways, force feedback, but using electrical muscle stimulation. So it's not as precise as force feedback. So that's why we cannot really use it for medical applications, for medical training, but we can use it for punching bubbles, for pulling down some elastic bands in VR. And that's how we kind of increase your intensity, increasing your workout.
Can you tell us a bit more about like how it works and what the fitness benefits are?
Yeah, of course. So working, it's pulsed electrical stimulation. So it's 100 hertz, depending on what benefits do you want to get from EMS. It can increase your blood flow, work on your training, on your strength, and depending on the frequency and pulse width. It's a lot of deep sciencey stuff there. It essentially works as your own nerves affecting the muscle. So your muscle is contracting like you would do with your own head, whether you're holding a heavy object, but it's a virtual object. So your body doesn't increase this intensity, but we're increasing it. We're closing your brain to muscle loop through the virtual object and through our devices. That's essentially how it works. It works via Bluetooth, connects to MetaQuest, to Eco, to whatever you want. You can connect it to Beat Saber, and when you hit the squares, the cubes, you get it in your arms. It's very fun. It's not finished yet, but very fun already. So you asked, we did another study as well just now. Surprisingly, we work with buddies and we do studies. King's College, we did it with the other university, the South Bank University, and we tried as well comparing VR fitness without EMS, without our devices, and with our devices. And a lot of people, so the kind of result is metabolism increases in your muscles when you're using these devices. And again, people find it much more fun, so probably we need to get the same King's College people to do the same study on our devices. It's more fun, it's more intense as well, and again, you do feel soreness on the next day. So a lot of people don't believe it. You need to try it for 10 minutes. Your friends so I tried it. You did feel some muscle soreness the next day.
I was melting in and it does work.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I have the devices. We will be able to test them afterwards if anyone wants. Another thing, yeah, of course, it's not only for fitness, of course. It's been used for rehabilitation. It can be used for rehabilitation as well. So we're thinking of working as well with King's College, with Guy's Hospital, on training muscles essentially, but not for healthy individuals, but for individuals who struggle with movement, stroke rehabilitation, injury rehabilitation, any neuromuscular issues. Yes, it's okay. I've answered. Perfect. So we talked a bit about technology. I think we talked about customers, and we talked about consumers currently. But I've seen you talk to some businesses as well. Sure. Are you moving there? How would you? Yeah. What's in this direction?
It's an interesting area at the moment. I think VR adoption in general across enterprise businesses is picking up. There's been some early adopters. Everyone's well aware of the businesses that have got the huge fleets of headsets, like your Accentures of the world, for example. We're starting to kind of move into the same space. So a lot of companies are adopting VR for collaboration and training and soft skills, but they're now asking, like, what next? How else can I use my VR headset? And that's where we're having quite a lot of success in hosting some conversations. So I think firstly, it allows them to stack value onto a hardware purchase that they've already made. So companies are investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in the hardware, and they want to see a greater return on investment. So the more kind of services that they can provide through that hardware, the better for the company. And employee wellness is seen as a way in which they can kind of improve that ROI and look at things like productivity as well, which I'll touch on shortly. But also what we're finding, kind of due to the facts that I talked about earlier, is that consumer experience being more positive, is that we're getting much higher engagement rates compared to traditional fitness programs that enterprises put out. So we did a pilot with a large building company in the States. The pilot had 300 employees, and it had an 80% engagement rate, which is way above your normal fitness program engagement rates, which are normally less than 20%. But we saw that some of the employees increased their activity levels by almost 300%. So when you start to think about health improvements for those employees, you start to think about productivity and absenteeism improvements as well, which we know come from physical fitness. There's a huge amount of return there. But there's a growing body of evidence which also shows that physical well-being positively impacts mental well-being as well. So I think that there's this idea of exercise being like a wonder drug, right, for both physical and mental well-being. And I think this is where enterprise will really pick up. I've had a couple of interesting conversations because I spoke to one person who is a FitXR subscriber. They head up XR innovation for a very big corporate company, but they hadn't made the connection that they could potentially use XR in a corporate environment for fitness as well. So I think a lot of this is kind of just getting the ball rolling and kind of getting those use cases out there. Something that we're really excited to push on over the next 12 months or so.
Just to add on that, we just mentioned about mental health improvement after fitness, and this reminded me of a Latin saying, anima sano and corpore sano, which means healthy soul and healthy body. Which, by the way, if you take this first words, it says Asics. And the Asics brands actually called because it's from a Latin saying, which is I didn't know before we engaged with them. So it's another thing. They're one of our customers as well. So the same thing was about you. What you're saying, creating something for the users or creating something for brands. So we have a partnership with Asics who ordered a class from us, so fitness class with our devices for their running experiences. We're trying to push in the same direction as well but more like brand experiences, spray and show design.
I'll go first. What are you excited about for the future? We're here to talk about the future of VR fitness, and we've talked about the current. So it'd be really cool to kind of get your point of view on where we're going to go in the space.
As I said previously, what was missing, like full body tracking, and again, upper body strength for us is from technology perspective. From us as a company, we're trying to move as well into trying to work with businesses. So we have a software platform as well, which is in principle can be a competitor to FitXR, healthy competitor. But we do work with some gyms and trainers who actually curate exercises, create classes for us. And so we would like to work more with those different brands and different trainers for them to bring exercises into our platform, either with devices or without devices. Another thing, we're improving our SDK for our devices, so we would like a lot of other developers to use our device for experimentation, research currently. Before, in 6-9 months, we're gonna start shipping the device for personal use. Currently, we're shipping it for businesses, so that we're improving SDK, and I hope on Thursday I'll do some experiments with Austrian-based company. I will not tell which one. So I have devices. We'll be here until the end of the day. If you want to try, find me. I will be somewhere next to a coffee shop there. We'll be happy to give you a demo. What about you? What's the future holds for you?
Yeah, I think hand and body tracking is a big one. I think right now we've got ambitions which kind of far exceed the capabilities of the hardware. And we are restricted by things like the accuracy of a speed of the punch, for example, which we have to have a controller for. But also right now, if you're using controllers, you have no access to a floor. And when you think about things like yoga or body strength workouts, being able to go down the floor is critical. So I think we're really excited about the advancements in that space. Obviously, mixed reality is a big one. A big blocker for people is that they don't feel comfortable working out in a fully VR environment. And so I think all of the fitness businesses are looking at mixed reality propositions. We'll have a mixed reality mode for Zumba. And a lot of this is positioned at the mum, right, who doesn't want to kind of kick their toddler while she's doing the merengue or whatever it is. So I think that's going to be a big change for the comfort in which people experience when they're doing VR fitness as well. And then, of course, we're excited about kind of the new hardware that's coming out. So we've been lucky to get our hands on play around with the Apple Vision Pro. We don't think that's a fitness device, but we'll see what happens as they develop it over the next few months. But I think more importantly, we're excited about kind of what we can do in the industry. So if we look at the kind of the topic of active gaming, and we talked about 80% of the population who are sedentary. I think you and I grew up watching sports stars and being inspired by footballers and cyclists, and that's what makes you pick up those sports as a hobby. But the kids of today are watching Twitch, and they're watching streamers, and those are their idols. And so I think we've got a big role to play in terms of using gamification and using immersion to bring those younger audiences into fitness. So we're actually really excited around what we can do with a more active gaming angle. So right now we're very much a fitness product, but I think that where we'll probably explore over the next 12 to 24 months is how we can create games which are more kind of actively engaging for the younger audiences as well, and like try and solve this bigger societal issue that's at hand as well. I think that's it.
Yeah, the most interesting point of the societal issues, we need to stop. Sorry. Maybe we have time for one question.
I think so. Thank you so much, Keith. A round of applause for this flash, fiery, unexpected, sprinty, merengue talk. Time for one quick question so that we can actually catch up on our schedule. Go for it, sir. I might steal the lead.
Thanks. Just with regards to the headsets, are there sort of limitations around the current headsets and things like, for example, sweat? And also, quickly for Ivan, where can we get our hands on these wearables?
Next to the entrance.
Sweat is the number one question that always comes out. It's an issue. I think there's kind of two issues. There's sweating in terms of it feeling uncomfortable, in which case the silicon facial interfaces do a really good job, especially kind of like keeping the headset clean. There's a separate issue around fogging of lenses at the same time, which comes from heat. At the moment, there's some really great aftermarket products which you can buy, which are like little fans that circulate air around the lenses, and they're really good. We're hoping to see those integrated into the hardware in the future as well. But I used to work at Zwift, indoor cycling thing. Nobody rode Zwift without putting an external fan on themselves, and I think it'll just be the same for VR fitness as well.
Thanks.
Okie dokie. Thank you so much. Another round of applause. Thank you, guys. Wonderful.